بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وارحم محمد وآل محمد كما صليت ورحمت وباركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. I would like to ask a few questions about the previous class meeting here, and at the end we mentioned that the da'wah as-sirriya, which is the secret form of da'wah, ended after the Prophet ﷺ has built a solid foundation for the next stage, the next phase. And the importance of this is that because the whole of Islam is going to lean on these people after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You need men, strong men, dedicated to carry the da'wah. That is why we are khulafa Allah fil ard. We are vicegerents of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the earth. So da'wah is not going to be carried by the angels, but by the jinn. We need to have people like you and I who would take the da'wah to the next level. So in order for this to succeed, you need to have solid, strong foundation that would confirm the sustainability of this phase. So my question here is, هل من الممكن أن تتكرر مثل هذه المرحلة الأولى? Do you think, and this is open for brothers and sisters, do you think that this phase could repeat the phase number one, which we spoke about, the secret phase of da'wah? Do you think it exists or it could exist within Islam? I mean, within the Islam, not any movement. I'm talking about organization or any movement. I'm talking about Islam that is known everywhere now. Do you think we have to go back to that level and say, no, we have to hide our Islam until... So the era of going back to the phase one of secrecy is over forever. But it's true, it still remains in some communities. But we're talking about global Islam. For instance, someone comes here and trying to advise us in the Lighthouse Mosque, saying that, it's still hostile, so let's keep this Islam, let's go back to the form from one and start to, keep it slow. We tell him to, find another place to go, because Lighthouse is already on the internet, already online, not only America, but everywhere. So it's not going to happen. So yeah, it is not going to happen again that Islam, in America, Islam is already a household. Yeah, alhamdulillah, for many reasons, positive or negative, Islam became part of everybody's home. We used to spend thousands of dollars to even allow a program on TV. But now, the programs or the stations, TV stations, going around asking Muslims to come and explain Islam, to present Islam. Please, we want you to come and tell people what Islam really is, for free. So Islam now is never home. So, yeah, we're talking about, he said himself very clearly that in a situation where individual or small group, or as we said in Cuba or somewhere, but I think not even all in Cuba. Cuba, Islam is also known everywhere now, but in a situation, in a locality, in a location, a place where, things are not going well. So they can start things slow, try to be spraying in one in the house of one of them, and not coming to public as long as it's still hostile and dangerous. So, but as global Islam, to say Islam is now being named, called names, Islam being considered to be whatever some people consider it to be. So we have to, stop going public and start, the secret form again. That is not going to happen, and that is over forever, globally. But it is case by case, it can happen, and he was very clear on that. So that is something I really want to make sure that we don't confuse that, what we've said, and get our information right on this. And even during the time of Rasulullah, not all companions, it didn't go public one time. Even when Allah asked a prophet to go public, he still took many companions to go the low profile, this low secret way, until they are strong in their own community. So it's not, but it's generally the Prophet is being commanded to go public, but it took so many people some time to still continue with the phase one, that is taking it low and taking it secret until they are strong enough to go public. An example of this was given by Imam some people would say and mention the ayah illa man ukriha wa qalbuhu mutma'innun bil iman, that you can continue with the secret form of da'wah as long as you are afraid of being arrested or being the hostility of something. So some would say, this ayah said, except those who are being forced against their own will. So they can continue to keep Islam low. But then Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal stopped talking to one of the learned people of their time. His name is Yahya bin Ma'in. Yahya bin Ma'in was a great scholar of hadith, and Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal disconnected with him, was not connecting, not talking, not engaging with him because of his position in the case of Khalq al-Quran, Quran being created, because that was a huge topic at that time, and that led some people to be some Muslims call Muslims names, and up to now we still have the effect of that. Khalq al-Quran. Is the Quran created or it is eternal? So the response of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, that is not created, is eternal because it's Allah's word. And some scholars were put to jail and punished because of that position. So Imam Ahmed, the short of the story is he stopped engaging, talking, doing things with brother, which is Yahya bin Ma'in. And people said to Imam Ahmed, why would you do so? And Allah said in the Quran, إِلَّا مَنْ أُكْرِهَ وَقَلْبُهُ مُطْمَئِنٌ لِلْإِيمَانِ. I mean, you have to take Islam and make Islam public, except for those who have been forced against their own will. And listen to his answer. He said, Allah said, إِلَّا مَنْ أُكْرِهَ, for those who have been forced. Those who have been forced against. But he is not being forced. He is just afraid of being forced. Two different things. He was not sent to jail. No one arrested him. So he was afraid of being. And Allah was talking about those who were already been forced. If you're already in the jail, if you're already been arrested, then you can, during the process, during the interrogation, you can find your way and free yourself. Because this happened to Ammar bin Yasir. You all heard about Ammar bin Yasir. He's a very popular figure. one of the first people to embrace Islam, he and his father, Yasir, and his mother, Sumayya. They are the first, among the first to embrace Islam, and his father, Yasir, was died out of the punishment, from the punishment because of Islam, his deen. And his mother was also stabbed to death. And Ammar survived. The kuffar asked him to say something bad about Islam, and he said about the Prophet ﷺ. Something good about their idols, Lat wal Uzza, and he said. So they released him. So when he came to the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Halakt ya Rasulullah, halakt. Since I'm doomed, I've done something very ugly. The Prophet ﷺ asked him, what happened, Ammar? And he narrated the story. The kuffar took over. Myself, my mom, and they killed my dad in the process. My mom stabbed, and they forced me to say something ugly about you, and I said. And they asked me to say something about their idols, and I said something good. So the Rasulullah smiled and said, how do you feel inside you? How do you feel inside? He said, Rasulullah, unshakable. My iman is more than rock. And he said, Ya Ammar, in adu fa'ud. In adu fa'ud. If they return, if they repeat it, repeat what you did and escape from their torture. So if they arrest you, you just say good about their Uzza is really beneficial or of any kind. Just say what you say, get your way. But that is when he has been arrested. He's already been taken. Now you are afraid of being taken. It's not. So Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal replied saying that, Yahya bin Ma'in, you don't have to side by these people who are saying that Quran is being created because of being afraid to be. Allah said, Illa man ukriha, past tense. Those who have already been arrested. So we have to keep Islam now. We're not afraid. Alhamdulillah. The reason we're not meeting here, we got gathering you sisters, your Islam on your head. Alhamdulillah, the hijab and the kufis everywhere. And until something is too much against your life or something that's threatening you. So that's very important to begin with. We have to be very open as we move forward. And that is why we all have to spend time reading the Sirah. That is why we have to spend time. It's not just enough spending time coming to masjid. It's fine. Reading the Sirah is very important. Number one, because why is Sirah important? Let me get you involved in this. At least let's mention some few, one or two or three reasons why Sirah is so important. What I've said now is part of it. Because someone can say, no, I can keep my deen slow, and you can tell them, look, that is not something you should do. Islam is not public, at least in Auckland, at least in the US, at least in where you live. And then when he brings the issue of Ammar, you can counter and tell him what Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal said to Yahya bin Ma'in. So now let me just get you involved. Why should we study Sirah? We've said this in the beginning, but just something that we have to revisit this. Why should we read the Sirah? Khalid, why do you think we should read the Sirah?
Well, Allah said that the Prophet, peace be upon him, is the best of examples.
That's beautiful.
And so the Sirah is life. So
that's beautiful. That's said. Yes, brother?
So if we face similar situations of the Prophet or the Sahaba, we can react in a way that they did.
That's beautiful. Alhamdulillah. Yes.
So that we learn wisdom.
Wisdom. Now.
I was going to say you should repeat because I don't know if you take the years
Well, what did he say? There's a problem with being Sandiada. I will go back. It's a role model. The Prophet is a role model, so that's part of it. And you said?
So we can follow the examples of the Prophet and the Sahaba a similar situation.
Because we may fall in the same situation, have ourselves in the same or similar circumstances that we will implement the Prophet's method. Yes, and you said?
I said that we learn
a hikmah from his, so a hikmah is wisdom. You know, the awlawiyat, fiqh al-awlawiyat, the priorities. What should be done first? That's very important. Yes, sister?
The Prophet said that we would be with those that we love, and one of the only ways to love
Loving the Prophet. The title, loving the Prophet. So that is it. So we read the Surah in order to confirm, to solidify our love to the Prophet, to love him so much. Because when you know him, how can you love someone if you don't know him? Before you get married, I think you need some time to know the sister, or the sister wants to know the brother. I mean, we don't just get married like that. But in the past, it's happened, but it's not always the best way. You need to get to know the person. So reading his Surah makes you know who is a prophet, and you know about the wisdom of the Prophet ﷺ, and you know about, if you happen to be in a situation that kind, you know what to implement and how. And also, you get to, make him your role model. Many names now, people consider people to be their role model, trying to imitate them, try to emulate them, but you have to emulate Rasulullah because you get reward from that. Just trying to be like Rasulullah, you get reward. Just trying to be like him. Try to eat like he is. Try to even dress like him, because that is part of your love to him. So alhamdulillah. So now, moving on to phase 2. That is Jahriyat al-Da'wah wa Sirriyat al-Tanzim. The da'wah becomes what? Open, public, and overt. It's no longer covered. But the tanzim, the organization, the movement remains covered, secret. So this is the marhala thaniya, the second phase of the da'wah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this marhala, this level, this phase also can be divided into 2 categories. Category number 1 is Jahriyatul Rasul sallallahu the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam making the da'wah, taking the da'wah public. Only the prophets. And the second category is Muslims taking the da'wah public. So there are 2 phases of the Jahriyat da'wah. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Jibreel with ayah, فَاسْدَعْ بِمَا تُؤْمَرْ وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, yani make the da'wah public. Fasda' means go out and do da'wah public, no more secret. Fasda' bima tu'mar. وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, and then ignore the mushriks. And don't respond to them. Don't be intimidated by their plans and their wickedness. Don't listen to them. Don't pay attention to them. The level, this phase started from this surah, from this ayah, Fasda' bima tu'mar, which is in Surah Al-Hijr, ayah number 94, Surah Al-Hijr. Surah Al-Hijr, ayah number 94, and with also another ayah complementing this, وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ, warn your closest family members, lineage, the tribesmen. Warn them. So this ayah is in Surah Al-Shu'ara, Shu'ara, the poet, number 214, ayah 214. These 2 ayahs made the da'wah move to the next level. Shu'ara, poets. number 214. So it started from this ayah all the way to al-Huzn, the year of what? Sadness or sorrow or grief. Al-Huzn, that is the year. Which year is that? The 10th. From when? From the time the Prophet became what? Prophet. So it took 10 years before the da'wah started to, the second phase ended. So the first phase lasted for 3 years, and the second phase lasted for 7. Started with this ayah, 2 ayats, one in Surah Al-Hijr, and the other one in Surah Al-Shu'ara, all the way to the 10th year of da'wah, when Prophet turned 10 years in da'wah. And that was al-Huzn. So which is that? The year of sorrow, year of grief. Which year is that? What happened?
His wife, Khadija, radiallahu anha.
The Prophet's wife, beloved wife, passed, Khadija bint Khuwailid. And his uncle, Abu Talib. Abu Talib was the Prophet's first defense after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, public, socially. When it comes to people, the Quraysh and the Arabs, he is Prophet's first defense. He is more than the soldier. He is more than you can ever imagine. He wasn't a Muslim, he never was one, but he believed in the Prophet ﷺ message, and he loved him and protected him like no one else. And Khadija bint Khuwailid was his defense emotionally, and she always is the source of his strength coming out of home. She made him very strong and supported him and made him stronger than he himself. And that's why I said behind every successful man there is a woman. Some people are having different something to say, but I don't buy that. And if you look at Abu Lahab and his wife Jamil, they are very hard on Rasulullah. But why do you think they are so hard? Why the toughness? They have never yielded any way to Rasulullah, always blocking him, stopping him, against him, talking bad in his face when he was not there. Every time, every place. Why do you think it's so severe? Anyone can answer me. Why Abu Jahl was so relentlessly, very ruthless against the Prophet? Why do you think? Anyone can give me a very quick answer. It's one word. Again? Jealousy. Wow, that is one. Very close. Power? Yeah, because they're very powerful. But that is very close. I need one word. I just say something.
They know it's potent, truth.
They know the Prophet ﷺ, what he brought is truth and it will overcome. That is also very strong. Yes? Threat from him. They are, okay, we're going to lose our power, our position. So, yes? Thirsty to... Okay, well, they were not testing him. They really wanted to take his life. They were not just testing him. They really were. They would like. If they had any way to assassinate him, they even tried. It's very good answer, but they are more than just testing him. They want to take him. They want him vanished. They want him to be silenced. No? Resentment. All of this is fine, but one word that I want to say about this is because of his wife. His wife is the most terrible woman you could ever imagine. And that will support me against the other who is. Because she is so tough. She is, I mean, I don't know how to even describe her. So, Abu Lahab, who is the Prophet's half, he is a half brother of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's father. Half brother of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's father, Abdullah ibn Abdul Muttalib. But he was so harsh and, I mean, relentless. He is so ruthless. He's so, I mean, so hard on Rasulullah. Because of his wife, she is even worse than he was. She was day and night planning to get the Prophet out of Mecca. And she would do more than just preparing her husband for hostility. She would even carry the thorn and all the, what if you can imagine, to put under his way so that he can get hurt. That's why the Quran sabbat yada abi lahabin wa tab ma agna anhu maluhu wa ma kasab wa imra'atuhu hammalat al-hatab. Hammalat al-hatab. So his wife is being cursed. And that's if she were to be nicer or kinder or lesser in the evil, she can tame him. But he was just getting even more like a beast because of he has another beast in the home. So two evils, no one. So I'm talking about if you have a better wife, even if you're angry, she will say, you know what? Take it cool, brother. Revisit the idea. Why don't we? She will help you. I mean, at least you come home with some idea, with some sort of different attitude. But when you get more fueled at home, when you get more even blame at home for not doing enough to harm the Prophet, when she wouldn't give you herself, when she would even come close to you because of you left, still the Prophet's been left alone to be wandering around, still living large. And so you would go home out every day wanting to do more harm and evil. So that is the answer. Because the wife. So this level started with two phases. The Prophet ﷺ was the first to go public with the dawah. And then Muslims is less than 2 years. The difference between the Prophet ﷺ going solo, calling people publicly, and Muslims, the companions, going public, it took less than 2 years. But they didn't go immediately public as the Prophet ﷺ did. Because Allah said, Inna kafaynaka al-mustahzi'in. We will protect you. We are going to suffice you from those who mock at you. The prophets. So Allah has said, we will take care of you, but not the companions. And they are all not the same. They are weak, some weaker, some are affluent, some are influential. So they are not the same. So they didn't do the same as the Prophet ﷺ did. He was the first to go public, and it took less, between 1.5 years, 1 year, 7 months before the rest of companions joined him in this book.
This is less than 2 years when he initially started, or after the year agreed?
No, no, when he initially went public.
Oh, okay.
I mean, taking the dawah public.
Yeah.
The Prophet ﷺ was alone doing that before the companions also went public.
Okay.
So between the Prophet and the companions is little less than 2 years. Al-Baladri, who wrote a book on Ansab al-Arab, is a historian, Ansab al-Ashraf, reported that the Prophet ﷺ invited people on 2 occasions after the surah, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him to go public. Fasda' bima tu'mar. Go public with what Allah has commanded you with. and turn away from the mushriks. Don't retaliate, don't return to them, don't respond to them, don't. The first time is the Prophet ﷺ gathered the closest relatives. There were 24 or 45, sorry, 45 people. He invited them on like a dinner, which was prepared by Ali ibn Abi Talib. So Ali ibn Abi Talib provided with all the ingredients and prepared the food for some of the closest relatives of the Prophet ﷺ. And during the meeting, the Prophet ﷺ told them that, you have never had any young man who brought you what I have brought you. You take Islam or you face the music. That's the hellfire. You take Islam, you escape the hellfire, or refuse Islam and face the hellfire. And the response was not encouraging. They didn't take his, they didn't heed to his call. And then later on, he invited all the Quraysh. So the first, when Allah said, وَأَنْشِرْ عَشِرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ, closest relatives. So he called the closest to him, the family. And these can be found also in Bukhari and Muslim. He invited strong men from Abdul Muttalib, the clan, and Abdul Manaf, 45 people. After they eat, after enjoying the food, and he brought the da'wah to them, and they did not take it. Then he went further. So he moved from Al-Ashir Al-Aqrab to Al-Ashir Al-Akbar. Moved from the closest relatives to the wider. Al-Ashir Al-Aqrab, that is Bani Abdul Muttalib and some of Bani Hashim, and then went to the brother community of his relatives, that is Quraysh. Quraysh is huge tribe, and within Quraysh there are many sub-tribes. There are Butun, different branches of Quraysh. So he started from those very close to him, then he went to the larger portion of the Quraysh and called them, and he called them and asked them a question. He didn't just call them to Islam in a way that is not encouraged. He told them, Ya Ma'ashar Quraysh, oh you, the people of Quraysh, if I relate to you that behind this mountain there is an army ready to combat, to go, take you by surprise, would you believe me? Would you accept this? He said in one voice, Ma ahidna alayka kadhiba. You never lie to us, Muhammad. We've never known you to be a liar. Always trustworthy. And they named him as Sadiq al-Amin even before he became prophet. So he said, فَإِنِّي رَسُولُ اللَّهِ إِلَيْكُمْ جَمِيعًا. Then I want you to know that I am a prophet and a messenger from Allah to all of you and to all mankind. So at this time, Abu Lahab could not control his temper, and he said, Alihada jama'atana, did you call or did you invite us because of this? His tongue like nonsense. Did something like, did you call us because of this? Tabban, woe unto you, woe. So And that is where Tabbat Yada Abi Lahabin came. Tabbat Yada, because he was pointing to people. Did you invite us here because of this? I mean, are you okay? Tabban lak. So you can see the Prophet ﷺ moving from the closest to the broader community of his tribe to call them to Islam and invite as much as he can to the deen. So there are two actually invitation to his relatives, as we just said. And in some in Baladri's report, Abu Lahab said, "Tabban laka sa'ir al-yawm, alihada jama'atana." And may you not be prosperous the whole day. May you be doomed the whole day. Did you just call us for this? Like nonsense information? What do we have to do with this? We are fine with our idols. They're not even enough. We're calling us to leave all, to abandon all of this and stand by one. We have many. They are still not enough for us. So, so this is how the public da'wah started, with all this slight form of struggle, because that could be that could cause some hostility and clash. But alhamdulillah, the Prophet and his companions and Abu Talib, things went smooth, and that's how he started. Now let's just mention quick some characteristics of this phase. What are the issues that characterize or were shaped by this phase? What are the issues that shape this phase? That is da'wah, open, but the organization remains secret. Number one is da'watul aqrabin, inviting the closest among the relatives. So not everyone, but people who are very close. So Prophet ﷺ started with people from Bani Muttalib and Bani Hashim, and some of the Bani Manaf. And the reason why, because he was trying to get some supporters. Now you call them bouncers, huh? To have some bound people stand by him firm, because it's not easy. So you need to have some support to aid him in his da'wah. And that's very important. So it tells you that when you are doing something substantial, you need to have people to back you. People who are very strong, who can support, who can make sure that you can go far. And Muhammad Munir Qadban said, وَهَذِهِ سُنَّةٌ إِلَهِيَّةٌ يحدثنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن أسبابها بسرد قصة لوط عليه السلام حين جاءه قومه يهرعون إليه يريدون الفاحشة بضيفه من الملائكة. When Lut alayhi salam had the visitors, the angels, and the people at that time were gays and lesbians, they rushed to his house because they heard Lut has some visitors. And Lut alayhi salam was not too supported. He has very weak support. And Allah said in the Quran in Surah Al-Dhariyat, فَأَخْرَجْنَا مَنْ كَانَ فِيهَا مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ فَمَا وَجَدْنَا فِيهَا غَيْرَ بَيْتٍ مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. It's only one house that has Muslims. All other people are not. So he was so weak and couldn't stand. No one even can push these people away. So it's very ugly when you have a cause, when you have a case, and you don't have support in back. And even to the extent that he himself said in Surah Hud, قال لو أن لي بكم قوة أو آوي إلى ركن شديد. I wish I had, a strong support or people or someone that I can run to for help. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Rahimallahu akhi Lut, faqad kan ya'wi ila rukunin shadid. May Allah's mercy be upon my friend, my brother, Lut. And he had really a strong pillar. Allah is a pillar. And, but he's talking about, Lut alayhi salam was relating to people, there's no people. But out of confusion, he said, I wish I had strong support. I wish I had someone to lean on. The Prophet ﷺ said, Rahimallahu akhi Lut. May Allah's blessing be on my brother Lut. You have Allah, you have the strongest pillar ever. And the same thing happened to Shu'aib, and Imam or Dr. Munir said here that after this situation of Lut alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never left any prophet without any serious backing. So it became sunnah of Allah to always make available people who would support and defend the prophets who came after that. And if you read in Surah Shu'aib about the story of Shu'aib, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قالوا يا شعيب ما نفقه كثيرا مما تقول وإنا لنراك فينا ضعيفا ولولا رحتك لرجمناك وما أنت علينا بعزيز. He said, oh Shu'aib, we don't understand much of what you say. We don't comprehend what you're saying, what you're talking to us about. We found you to be weak. You are very weak and not strong. But if not for your people, if not for the support that you have, the support system that you have, we would have stoned you to death. You are not anyone you are not someone who has, who is, unbeatable. You are not someone who is unbeatable. We can easily finish you up. But you have strong backing. You have people behind you. So Imam, the Doctor said, فما بعث الله بعده من نبي إلا في ثروة من قومه. Reporting from مختصر تفسير Ibn Kathir, saying that after Lut alayhi salam, whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make easy for him to have supporters and backing to help him convey his message. Therefore, if you look at the Quran, the ayah which moved the da'wah from secret to open, it has contained some element in it. فَاسْدَعْ بِمَا تُؤْمَرْ وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Prophet to go public, but then advised him to take it easy. Number one, to forgive and forget, and not to pay attention, to be heedless to what people, the mushrik, are saying. So if you are at that stage, you don't have to take everything personal. Take every comment serious. You will be crushed out. You have to be smart. لابد أن تكون كيس and fatin. You have to be smart and very intelligent to know when to respond. So this still about the first characteristic of this phase. So moving forward to the second characteristic of this phase, السمة الثانية, الإعراض عن الكافرين أو المشركين, not being heedless to the mushriks. That is the second characteristic of this phase. But the dawah, although do not turn to them, do not give any attention to them, but the dawah should be clear. That's very important in this, at this time. The dawah must be clear. You have to be able to say exactly what you want to say. You have to be clear in your approach. وَقُلْ إِنِّي أَنَا النَّذِيرُ الْمُبِينُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed the Prophet, say loud and clear to them, I am a warner who is clear in what he says. أَنَا النَّذِيرُ الْمُبِينُ. So, although don't clash with them, but you have to be very clear in what's your message. That's very important any time, by the way. But at that very formative age, you have to be very, very clear. The da'wah should continue and refrain from any form of clash. So these are three things to ponder as the da'wah, as the da'iyah, or the da'wah takes the form of not paying attention to mushriks. You don't have to return to them, you don't have to respond to them, but the da'wah should continue. You don't have to listen to what they say, but you should be clear. You don't have to listen to what they say, but the da'wah should be free from clash. So no clash, you be clear and do not respond to them. والسمة الثالثة, the third characteristic of this phase is معالم الدعوة الجديدة. The type of this, the da'wah at this level, the type, the form of the da'wah al-Islamiyya. Ma'alim means the features or the elements or the facts, if you want, of this, the da'wah at this level. There are three key elements. Number one is al-iman billahi al-wahid. That is believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as one and only. And al-iman bi rasulihi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and believing in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as an authentic messenger from Allah. And al-iman bil yawm al-akhir, and believe in the last day, the day of judgment. So these are the three elements that the Prophet ﷺ reinforced and continued to reinforce at this level when he started public da'wah. This is the characteristic number three. The characteristic number three is confirming on these three or key elements. Allah as one, and accepting the Prophet ﷺ as the last and the seal of all prophets, and al-iman bil yawm al-akhir. The issue of zakat or the salat, the way we know salat today and hajj were not at that level. The Isra al-Mi'raj brought the salat and zakat after moving to Medina, and it happened after the Am al-Huzn, after the year of grief, and so this has been the course, the clear lines on which the Prophet ﷺ track on. Iman billah, and then be mindful. It's not just iman billah, just believing in Allah, but the key word here is what? Al-wahid, one, alone. That's a very key word here. So when we are in a situation where Islam is not too popular, or people don't accept Islam the way we want it, and we still want to do the da'wah, still do not forget about the oneness of Allah. Tawheed, that's the most important thing. That is number one element in the mind of the mindset of the da'iyah. So Rasulullah ﷺ never compromised on that at all. There's no compromise in Allah as one. So what do you think that tells us today when we do da'wah, and where people were trying, no, take it easy, let's take da'wah easy? What do you think? I mean, do you think that today in our environments or communities we're doing that? That's open to yes.
I just think we we don't think about the procedure that we use and the way we do da'wah. And it's reactive, it's not proactive.
Yeah.
And so I've heard one scholar say that oftentimes, like for example, if someone will say, "Oh, I hear that Islam says there's a way to use the bathroom," then we say, "Oh, well, you see, there are scientific studies saying that the particular Islamic way to use the bathroom is the best way, and using the left hand and all this stuff." And we go into this defensive position about these really, really minor issues. Whereas if we were to turn the debate around and say, yes, that's part of the religion, but you know what's also part? The most important part? Tawheed. Let me tell you about that. This is what it means. Then we would have much more effective da'wah. If we changed the conversation around and said, let's talk about what Tawheed really means and what it can mean for your life.
That's wonderful. Alhamdulillah. Beautiful. Any comment anything on that? Because sometimes when we are so engaging non-Muslims, some people will say, "No, we all believe in God," and forget about the one. Tawheed is very important. In God, okay, we believe, because when you start to eliminate the wahid, the oneness and the unity of Allah, then you will move on to say, we all believers, or we just fine together. Then you forget about even believing in Allah. Because non-Muslims would want you to eliminate the issue of the unity of Allah, the oneness of Allah, Tawheed, the Wahid. So that, I don't want to, I don't want non-Muslims to get offended, so I don't want to say Allah one. So, we all believe in God, so, that's very dangerous, God. And then the atheists will say, we just friends in the community, so forget about believing. So the moment you start to eliminate, you have to move on. You eliminate God, the one. Then the next is, don't even mention God. We are just friends in the globe, in humanity. You start to forge and fabricate these names, so you start to go low. No. That word, the most, what do you think is the most confused word here everywhere today? Everywhere. The most confused word. God. If you say God to Buddhists, it's something else. If you say God to Christians, it's something else. If you say God to atheists, it's something else. So the word God is the most confused word today. So don't underestimate, just saying, we all believe in God, but we believe in God in one God. Stand firm on that. I'm not trying to intimidate him, but I'm just telling him what I believe. That's me. I'm talking about me, about myself, about my belief. I'm not talking about his belief. Let him believe in God 2, 3, 4, 10. That's fine to him, but to me. So you're not offending him. So it's very important. So the major thing here is al-iman billah al-wahid. That is Qul huwallahu ahad. Huwallahu ahad. The ahad here is different from the word wahid. Do you know that? What ahad means what? Wahid is what? One. And ahad is what? Alone. Wahid is number. So if you say God is one, someone can say, well, mine is 2. And others say 3. So we just mention the numbers. So alhamdulillah, let's move on. But if you say, my God is alone, you don't say alone. For instance, when you say, I love you, when you say, I love you, you can say, I love you and Muhammad. But if you say, you are the only one I love, you can say, you are the only one and then Muhammad. No, you just close it. You close the sentence. You are the only one I love. And that is Iyaka na'budu. The difference between na'buduka in Surah Al-Fatiha, that's the secret, the linguistic secret between na'buduka and Iyaka na'bud. Only you do we worship. It's different from we worship you. completely different. If the Quran, the ayah was Na'abuduka, we worship you, you can say, we worship you, and the Christian will say, and we worship Isa. So he can add to it, Na'abuduka wa ghayrak. You can say, I love you and my father. You can say to your mom, I love you and my mom. I love you and my friend. You can add. But if you say to your dad, or your mom, or your friend, only you do I love. You can say any my friend. So that's different. Iyaka, only you. It's sealed. The Quran, Allah even training us how to Tawheed, even by language. Allah said you can't even add any word. Linguistically, Tawheed is being reinforced here. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. So, Qul huwallahu ahad, Allah. I mean, that is why the Quran is so important. The language of Quran, the Arabic, and that is why you can't see anything come close to an Arabic word. And that's why you all need to learn Arabic, not to be Arabs. Not to be Arabs, but to understand Allah's word. Allah is talking to you. Allah is communicating to you through the language. And if you don't know the language, how can you get the core of Allah's commandments? And if you don't understand language, how can you communicate well? That's a missing link. So it's very important to understand Arabic. And I encourage all of you to spend enough and to spend quality time. And I say quality, not just some days and off and on. Quality time to learn Arabic. That is part of your iman. It's ta'abbud. You worship Allah by doing so. It's just like coming to masjid because you want to understand what Allah communicates with you. So the word wahid is one. And Allah could have said it, but He didn't say wahid. Qul huwallahu ahad. Allah is alone. It's not one, two. It's one. So if you can say Allah is one and alone, always try to bring the alone after if you have to say it. But the Arabic word ahad, sealed. There's no, you can add it. If you add anything above ahad, the answer is you don't know anything in Arabic. You need to go back to class 1. To the beginning. You can say Qul Allahu ahad wa ghayru, no, sealed. So the Tawheed is being preserved linguistically. The language is sealed. So it's right if you're a real Arab who understands the language, you know this is finality. And that is why translations cannot match the Arabic. If you go to all translation, God is one. They say word is one. And that is not accurate to the Quran. Allah didn't say wahid. So the iman with Allah as alone, and then iman, the Prophet ﷺ, and the day of judgment. These are the 3 key elements in as-sima thalitha in this phase, because the rest came later. And the Prophet ﷺ was very, very keen on making sure that this is understood well. As-sima al-rabi'ah, the 4th characteristic of the da'wah public is ad-da'wah amma. The da'wah became universal. The da'wah came for everybody. So this also has 2 branches. Branch number 1 is the universality of da'wah and the equality of the Muslim Ummah, equality. And for this, for Islam to really start the way it started, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created an environment, a situation where this happened in the beginning, in the formative, very early time, when we have Suhaib al-Rumi. Suhaib represents the Romans, the Byzantine. That time, the superpower. Suhaib came all the way searching for Islam. Bilal from Habasha, and Salman al-Farisi. So Islam started with them. They are insiders. These people are not just like outsiders. They didn't join Islam later on. I mean, Islam started with them. They are the foundation So the universality of Islam, the universal faith of Islam is very important. And then the equality. And these are the two things that made Islam troublesome to non-Muslims. Because worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone means all the idols should stop to exist. And that is something it's not easy for them to embrace. Number two, the equality between all people. While they have slavery and slave trade is everywhere. So each of these is enough to cause Muhammad sleepless nights. So it wasn't easy at all to manage this, but this has been one of the issues Islam brought on this phase. The Islam public brought that making Islam more universal. It's not only for Arabs, not only for the Persian, it's not only for black, it's for all people. Inni Rasulullah ilaykum jami'an. I am a prophet of Allah to all mankind. So that's a very important point here as we're moving forward to the next Asim al-Khamisa, the characteristic number 5 of this era, of this phase, is Sirriyat al-Tanzim. That the organization, the movement continues to what? To stay secret. And this happens, where do you think they happen? Where did it take place? Who was famous in this respect? Who is a companion, the Sahabi, who is very famous in this respect? Yes, sister? Hamza? No. Umar bin Khattab? No. Abu Bakr? Said no. Any name? Ali bin Abi Talib? No. Number 4? Yeah, I will just mention the names. Inshallah, let's try to. Who was the famous companion to embrace secret organization of Islam, even though the dawah is public, but the organizing, the movement still continues secret? Who is the famous, who is the most known companion in making this possible? There's a name related to this very issue.
I forgot his name, but they used to congregate in his house.
What is his name? Arqam. Arqam bin Abil Arqam. Could you say Arqam? Arqam bin Abil Arqam. Arqam bin Abil Arqam. His name is associated with this secret organization, even though when dawah is clear, because you have to know your companions, man. When I was a kid, there's something like know your ministers. The school, know your ministers. You have to memorize the names of the Minister of Finance, who doesn't finance you, and then the name of Minister of Power, who always cut power against you or for you, and Minister of Education, who's all of this. But you have to mention and memorize his name and his position and blah, 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 blah. We have to know the names. These are powerful. These are Arqam. This is a big name. When we talk about Da'wah Sirriya, Tanzim Sirri, the secret type of organization, the movement stay secret, then immediately our mind should go straight to Arqam bin Abil Arqam. Arqam bin Abil Arqam. His house is right by the Safa. You know Safa and Marwa? His house used to be there. And that is where they convene meetings. That is where the ta'aleem takes place. That is where Quran is being taught. And that is where the Prophet ﷺ planned and organized and arranged and advised them. That is where the Prophet listened to them after they all disperse. They come and tell him what happened, what they faced, and how they handle it. And the Prophet ﷺ will correct them or advise them for or against and say, that is good, keep it up, or that is wrong, disease from it, or with advice, or so that is really important time. And they've been meeting there for a long time, and this tells us what do you think we incorporate from that to our lives today? I mean, Arqam al-Arqam, his house was open for the Prophet and the companions, meeting in a secret way and organizing in a beautiful way. So what do we learn that for our meetings and organization, or if we want something to substantial for our communities? Yes, sister?
Are you saying Ibn or Abi?
Arqam bun Abil Arqam. Abil Arqam.
Abi?
Yeah.
Abi like
No.
Abi,
Yeah.
Abi.
Arqam. Ibn Abil Arqam.
Can you give us a phonetic spelling?
Again?
Can you give us a phonetic spelling?
Oh, yeah, you have it here. MashaAllah. Oh, yeah, that's good. Al-Arqam bin Abil Arqam. Al-Arqam ibn Abil Arqam. And it could be Al-Arqam if you want. Also, because in some different sources, it's Al-Arqam ibn Abil Arqam. Or Arqam, because it's a name. A name doesn't necessarily need alif and lam, like Ayub. It doesn't say Al-Ayub. Muhammad al-Muhammad. Yusuf al-Yusuf. We don't need to add alif and lam. But sometimes some names come with alif and lam. That is how the name was built. It's not about. So we cannot say it's wrong, but you cannot add name to say the Ayub. It's Ayub. But his name is Al-Arqam, Ibn Abil Arqam. So if I say Ibn, because I stop on the Arqam. Otherwise, Al-Arqam bun Abil Arqam. And guess what? Okay, no, I think I asked a question. I don't know what someone asked me. I said, what do we learn from that? Yes.
One of the things that you learn is that it was never a point where the Muslims were unorganized.
It's never?
There was never a point where the Muslims were unorganized when things have happened. Even when they were undercover or out in the open, there was never a point that they were unorganized.
Even when Muslims are open, out there, even when Rasulullah has been asked to go public, they still what? Plan in a secret way to make sure that they are successful. And how old do you think Arqam was when he became a Muslim? When he embraced Islam? He's one of the first, by the way. Some said he's the 6th or 7th to embrace Islam, to accept Islam, Arqam. It's a great companion. He's the 6th or 7th companion to accept Islam. How old do you think he was? Whose house became like the parliament then? That's a big thing. Because 40? 12? Any good guess? 20? 60? Who said it? 16. 16. He was 16. He was 16.
16?
Yeah. 1-6. I mean, I want to tell you that the importance and the role of youth, teenagers. Never underestimates the importance of these teen, beautiful brothers and sisters. They are the future of Islam. Arqam ibn Abil Arqam was only 16 years when he took Shahada. And he opened his house wide for the prophets and the companions. And because in order to confuse the Meccans, I mean, if they were to look for the companions, they would go to someone who is big and an older person who has big house. No, they went to this young, energetic youth, and there's no even thinking that he may be the one who is whose house become the meeting place. So it's all tricks. So yeah, in a social event is good for good reasons. Sometimes people think that being a spy is wrong. No, there's a good part of being a spy. We call it in Arabic. You see, in English, you just say spy. I mean, you don't have a good or bad. One is a good spy or bad spy. In Arabic, there's difference. The bad spy who spy against you is called what?
A snitch.
I'm saying in Arabic. I know you speak English. I want you to come in a place where I'm stronger than you are. So it's jasus. Jasus, when you heard, whenever you hear the word jasus, it means it's bad guy. It means just spy, yes, snitch. I don't know where, I just spy. I don't know. But if you, but if he's a good one, you call what? Jasus. Just take the jim, the dot after the jim. Jasus, take off the jim, and the dot becomes what? Jasus means the angelic kind of, spy. He's spying to see whether you need some help. I'm spying to see whether you had a hardship, whether you've had some food on the table today. Do you think we have this type of Jasus today? It's all the evil one, people spying against people. But no one is spying to help you, to give you, to bring. Umar ibn Khattab used to go around trying to smell whether there's food in order to provide. That's why this Ummah became so strong. We need to have many Ummahs. We are having some Ummahs, inshallah, on the way. Inshallah. So, he was a young man who accepted Islam and opened his house for the meeting, and the Prophet ﷺ teaching Quran, showing the companions the way, correcting what happened, that is wrong, confirming what they have done right, advising them what to do next in that house. And the focus was what? On Al-Quran. That is the next characteristic. That number 6. Al-Quran مصدره الثاني. مصدر المتلقي المصدر الأول. Al-Quran مصدر التلقي. Quran was the first and the only source of taking, understanding the Shahada Islam. So no other subject around, it's only Quran. In the house of Al-Arqam bin Abi Al-Arqam. And Imam or Dr. Munir said this should be the focus of du'ats, those who call to Allah. The first should be the Quran. Because in America today, we have some people who don't believe in Sunnah. I'm not calling for Sunnah to be forgotten. We cannot even forget Sunnah. There's no way Sunnah can be forgotten at all. But in some places in the East Coast, there are some group calling themselves Al-Quraniyun. Quran is only Quran. We don't care about Sunnah. They need to get more new education. They need to be oriented about Islam. That is weak. That is lousy understanding of Islam. You can understand Quran without Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's what Sunnah does. Sunnah is to teach you what Quran, how to understand Quran, how to interpret Quran, how to embrace Quran. Explain things that are made not easy in the Quran. So how can you know how to make wudu? Quran didn't explain the wudu. Quran didn't explain everything about the wudu. Quran didn't explain everything about salat, the rak'at and the ruku and sujood. So the sunnah is very important in understanding. But at this stage, the Prophet ﷺ's main focus was Quran. Teaching them Quran and akhlaq, morals. And so he said, كان هذا اللقاء اليومي الدائم هو الذي يغير هذا الواقع البشري وتتفاعل النفوس بهذا الوحي المنزل فيجد نفسه إنسانا جديدا غير ذي قبل إنسانا جديدا بقيمه. So with the Quran, with embracing the Quran, with listening to the Quran, you find yourself different person in your values. جديدا بمشاعره, new, refreshed from his feelings. بأفراحه وأتراحه, from your time of happiness and times of grief. you are a different person. I mean, you know where and for what you become happy, and where and for what you become unhappy. So Islam shaped that. If before you just get mad for something, now it's shaping you. You know why you should get mad or why you should not get mad for things. I mean, what is the source of your happiness and what should be considered the source of, not because of dunya, I mean, because of someone is worshiping Allah to you. Because someone is nice person who introduced Islam or who introduced good morals to you. It's not just for business and all. So you have a different way of looking at things that will make you happy and things that make you unhappy. Jadidan bi ghadabihi wa ridah. You be new about what things makes you angry and things that bring pleasure to you. Bi hubbihi wa bughdihi. Bi amalihi wa alamihi. You become new in terms of what comes painful to you and hopes, what bring hopes for you. And bihtimamatihi wa shawaghilihi. Come new for things where to spend your time, things that to occupy your time with, and things that you should take serious. So Quran has all this training in it. And when you take Quran as the only source, you know, for especially when you are in the process in the beginning, it's very important, because in the hadith there are weak hadith, hadith al-da'if, there are fabricated hadith, al-hadith al-mawdu'. There are many, but first of all, you have to accept as Muslim that hadith is part and parcel of what? Sharia al-Islamiyya is the second source of the Quran. But you can find all of this in the Quran. So Quran should be the focus, especially the first person coming to Islam. Don't get distracted. Quran, hadith, ijtihad and qiyas and all of this is still. So which is which? So at that time, Quran, their focus, and they have everything that they learn from the Quran. So the Shaykh is calling upon ومن أجل هذا نرى أن يكون منهج التلقي الأول للدعاة منبثقا كله من القرآن في المرحلة الأولى. He said the first attention should be focused towards Quran in the first at early age of da'wah. When we are new, learning the Quran should be our focus. And there is for those who don't accept the hadith, and that will be another topic, is there is a story that I think Umar ibn Khattab, if I'm not mistaken, was asked by one of the people at the time that who was rejecting the hadith to be part of the Quran. And I think it's Abu Hanifa, Umar, I'm not very sure about the story now. But anyway, the Imam related that Allah said in the Quran, وَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. So I think it was a story also about Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa was asked by Imam Muhammad Abdu. There's a similar story with Abu Umar radiallahu anhu, but Imam Muhammad Abdu, who is a reformer in Egypt, he went to France to make da'wah, to visit Muslims, and he was confronted by someone who wanted to challenge him, saying that, Imam, you claim that everything is in the Quran? He said, yes. He said, okay, how many cup of grain can make one bread? A question that sometimes he can have answer even for da'iyah who is not a baker, who doesn't work in the bakery. So the Imam said, okay, wait a minute. The Imam went out to the bakery around and asked them, I need help. And how many cup of grain do you need to make a bread? So they told him, and he came back and said to the man who asked him that, okay, this is the limit. He said, well, I was asking you because I wanted to give me the answer from the Quran. I didn't ask you to go out and ask people. He said, no, it's in the Quran too. Allah said, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Allah said, if you don't know, ask those who know. You see how you can be smart. Allah said in the Quran, ask people of knowledge if you know not. So you ask them, I don't know. I went to ask those who make bread and they told me. So it's in the Quran. So the same thing, hadith. Someone can say, okay, where in the Quran Allah mentioned hadith? There's nowhere in the hadith, but Allah said, وَمَا آتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ. Whatever the Prophet ﷺ brought to you, take it. So this is hadith. So for someone to say, I'm only Quranist, you are nothingist. I mean nothingist. Nothingist. You have nothing, you are holding to nothing. Because you will not understand Quran, because you will fail to even worship Allah the best way. You have to. But we're talking about the early time when people are coming to Islam. Let them get Quran, understand the Quran. Don't bring a host of all these things to them. They will find it very hard. We still have time?
I think it's
Getting close? How close?
well, when I fast, I will improve my fast.
According to the schedules, for example,
It's overtime, huh?
on the Android, it's Maghrib.
So, what is Maghrib now? Is Maghrib 7 at night?
It's like 8:35.
Okay, so inshallah we will stop here because we have to keep the time, And then next time we're going to end this phase. As we said, every week we have a phase to cover. Jazakumullah khair, may Allah bless you. And thank you for your time and the attention. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Was given by Imam some people would say and mention the ayah illa man ukriha wa qalbuhu mutma'innun bil iman, that you can continue with the secret form of da'wah as long as you are afraid of being arrested or being the hostility of something. So some would say, this ayah said, except those who are being forced against their own will. So they can continue to keep Islam low. But then Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal stopped talking to one of the learned people of their time. His name is Yahya bin Ma'in. Yahya bin Ma'in was a great scholar of hadith, and Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal disconnected with him, was not connecting, not talking, not engaging with him because of his position in the case of Khalq al-Quran. Quran being created, because that was a huge topic at that time, and that led some people to be some Muslims call Muslims names, and up to now we still have the effect of that. Khalq al-Quran. Is the Quran created or it is eternal? So the response of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, that is not created, is eternal because it's Allah's word. And Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad wa raham Muhammadan wa ali Muhammad kama sallaita wa rahimta wa barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim fil alamin innaka hamidun majid. I would like to ask a few questions about the previous class meeting here, and at the end we mentioned that the da'wah as-sirriya, which is the secret form of da'wah, ended after the Prophet ﷺ has built a solid foundation for the next stage, the next phase. And the importance of this is that because the whole of Islam is going to lean on these people after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You need men, strong men, dedicated to carry the da'wah. That is why we are khulafa, Allah fil ard. We are vicegerents of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the earth. So da'wah is not going to be carried by the angels, but by the jinn. We need to have people like you and I who would take the da'wah to the next level. So in order for this to succeed, you need to have solid, strong foundation that would confirm the sustainability of this faith. So my question here is, هل من الممكن أن تتكرر? So Islam now is never home. So yeah, I mean, we're talking about, he said himself very clearly that in a situation where individual or small group, or as we said in Cuba or somewhere, but I think not even all in Cuba. I mean, Cuba, Islam is also known everywhere now, but in a situation, in a locality, in a location, a place where, things are not going well. So they can start things slow, try to be spraying in one in the house of one of them, and not coming to public as long as it's still hostile and dangerous. So, but as global Islam, to say Islam is now being named, called names, Islam being considered to be whatever some people consider it to be. So we have to, stop going public and start, the secret form again. That is not going to happen, and that is over forever, globally. But it is case by case, it can happen, and he was very clear on that. So that is something I really want to make sure that we don't confuse that, what we've said, and get our information right on this. And even during the time of Rasulullah sallam, not all companions, he didn't go public one time. Even when Allah asked the Prophet to go public, he still took many companions to go the low profile, this low secret way, until they are strong in their own community. So it's not, but it's generally the Prophet ﷺ is being commanded to go public, but it took so many people some time to still continue with the phase one, that is taking it low and taking it secret until they are strong enough to go public. An example of this, some scholars were put to jail and punished because of that position. So Imam Ahmed, the shorts of the story is he stopped engaging, talking, doing things with brother, which is Yahya ibn Ma'in. And people said to Imam Ahmed, why would you do so? And Allah said in the Quran, إِلَّا مَنْ أُكْرِهَ وَقَلْبُهُ مُطْمَئِنٌ لِلْإِيمَانِ. I mean, you have to take Islam and make Islam public, except for those who have been forced against their own will. And listen to his answer. He said, Allah said, إِلَّا مَنْ أُكْرِهَ, for those who have been forced. Those who have been forced against. But he is not being forced. He is just afraid of being forced. Two different things. He was not sent to jail. No one arrested him. So he was afraid of being. And Allah was talking about those who were already been forced. If you're already in the jail, if you're already been arrested, then you can, during the process, during the interrogation, you can find your way and free yourself. Because this happened to Ammar ibn Yasir. You all heard about Ammar ibn Yasir. He's a very popular figure. One of the first people to embrace Islam, he and his father, Yasir, and his mother, Sumayya. They are the first, among the first to embrace Islam, and his father, Yasir, was died out of the punishment, from the punishment because of Islam, his deen. And his mother was also stabbed to death. And Ammar survived. The kuffar asked him to say something bad about Islam, and he said about the Prophet ﷺ. Something مثل هذه المرحلة الأولى. Do you think, and this is open for brothers and sisters, do you think that this phase could repeat? The phase number one, which we spoke about, the secret phase of Da'wah. Do you think it exists or it could exist within Islam? I mean, within the Islam, not any movement. I'm talking about organization or any movement. I'm talking about Islam that is known everywhere now. Do you think we have to go back to that level and say no, we have to hide our Islam until? So the era of going back to the phase one of secrecy is over forever. But it's true, it still remains in some communities. But we're talking about global Islam. For instance, someone comes here and trying to advise us in the Lighthouse Mosque, saying that, it's still hostile, so let's keep this Islam, let's go back to the form from one and start to, keep it slow. We tell him to, find another place to go. Because Lighthouse is already on the internet. Already online, not only America, but everywhere. So it's not going to happen. So yeah, it is not going to happen again that Islam, in America, Islam is already a household. Yeah, alhamdulillah, for many reasons, positive or negative, Islam became part of everybody's home. We used to spend thousands of dollars to even allow a program on TV. But now, the programs or the stations, TV stations, going around asking Muslims to come and explain Islam, to present Islam. Please, we want you to come and tell people what Islam really is, for free.